Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we have a Modern Warfare 3 critique. Um, it should be a pretty short one. A lot of these things are pretty self-explanatory. You know them, I know them, but somebody's got to say it. Um, so yeah, we've officially reached the 1 week point. Um, I've logged myself a fairly modest 15 hours. Um, there are people who have way more than me, but that's them. So what really went wrong? Well, number one, the campaign sucks, and it didn't help that they released it early. So anybody who was on the fence about buying the game probably didn't.
But to really figure out what went wrong, how the game feels so right, we gotta go back to Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2, a game hyped up to be the return to form for Call of Duty, and it sort of was. It was a grounded, average-paced shooter. You could slide, tac sprint, and dolphin dive, all a combo we haven't seen in COD together ever. There were still plenty of options to get you out of sticky situations, until you couldn't. Bullets slowed you down, grenades stopped you dead in your tracks, and tacticals were crippling. Oh, and the sound whoring. My god, the sound whoring. The visual recoil was a nuisance, for me personally. And it was such a shame, because with so many attachments to pick from, specifically those optics, and only a handful of them were usable in 6v6. They were just too bouncy. A lot of those like three times, four times optics, you couldn't use them on anything. And so that really cut down, what you could use. So you saw a lot of iron sights and just one times optics. And that's just one example of the lack of variety in people's playstyles. And encompassing all of that, there was a matchmaking system that was very firm but relatively fair at that point in time. And that is something that's very important to understand. It still felt fair, you know? Um, but with the reception of Modern Warfare 2, they made some pretty big changes for the third title. And Sledgehammer, to their credit, they stepped up and they gave us everything we wanted. And I mean everything. It felt more like a direct sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, if anything. We got Dead Silence. We got perks at the start of the match. Good camos. Guns are fast and snappy. Not the fucking sniper. Oh my god, the Kiat. Thing's thick as fuck. The visual recoil was reduced significantly. Console finally had all the amenities that PC does. The POV sliders, 120 hertz, stuff like that. It's almost all there. And the attachments finally feel unique solely because you can use all of them because of the reduced visual recoil, which is you know it was so refreshing for the first few days. Um, and as somebody who is very excited to be going into the gun industry, it's a gun nut's dream. There's there's so many things, so many attachments, so many different kind of bullet mods, everything you could want. It's a wet dream. Um, and even the old guns carrying over even brings so many new attachments that I've never used before because you couldn't use them last game. And so I really did enjoy that. Um, but unfortunately, this game, even more so than the others in the past, is plagued, absolutely plagued with one major issue, and that's the skill-based matchmaking or the engagement optimized matchmaking or whatever unholy concoction of matchmaking hell that they use in this game. It ain't it, Chief. Okay, it ain't it. Uh, Let me explain why. For the first few days, like most of you, I assume, I played with my friends. Just chilling, unlocking new weapons, having fun with the snipers, and the biggest thing, playing with our favorite real-world guns, like the Sig Spear. It's the best speed. It's fucking disgusting. Which really just had me hooked. The variety in the game is good, and like the variety of usable things, without just, bullshit recoil was really enticing. I was really looking forward to it. Um, But sadly, that didn't last long. Um, Now let me quick give a shout out to the crew I game with because this is gonna sound a little bit harsh, okay, if you don't have any backstory. All three of us are never, ever good at the same game at the same time. Whether it's Brandon stomping us on Halo or Jamie carrying us to another victory for the OG, you know what I mean? There's always there's always someone good, and on the flip side, there's someone who's shit. Usually me at Halo. But in Call of Duty, I kind of step up and take that crown. But let me be very clear: I'm not insanely good at COD. Okay, I can just shoot straight. Um, so obviously we end up doing pretty well. These first few days, and we go on a tear. We're having fun. We're winning is the most important part, and unlocking things with the daily challenge system. But then, oh my God, but then, we all hopped off one night. I think we hopped off Sunday night. We all worked Monday morning. And the next time we all got on, it was just painful. Um, it, I'm already burnt out. It's kind of ridiculous. It really is. Like the first few hours mainly consisted of ignoring the dailies because I had a Semtex challenge, but I couldn't unlock the Semtex without doing. But the more games I got into, the more I saw a difference between me and my team. I was having to go 43 and 25 every fucking game with like a minute 30 plus in the hard point just to carry teammates going like 8 and 16, 20 seconds. And I ended up just logging off for the day because it just wasn't fun. You know, Keep in mind somebody going top of leaderboard and winning logged off because they weren't having fun. If that's not a problem, I don't know what is. But moving on to the next day, I have a chill day off. So, like, this is just some afternoon gaming. I hop on solo. I do the dailies because they've switched over at this point, and then I'm going for wins. I play for about 2 hours solo, and I maybe win once or twice. And they don't even log because I don't know, the wins just didn't count towards my daily. I don't know why. But I was going like from 43 kills last night to going 10 and 20 negative. I went 2 and 20. I've never done that bad ever. Like ever. There have been times where I've done that maybe on like Halo, but then that's like 2 and 8 because that's Halo. But 2 and 20, like it just becomes the sweatiest thing on the planet once you hop into a solo queue. And that was all because I was having to carry teammates the night before. I guarantee it. But yeah, going 2 and 20 and then still having like 2 minutes and 2 minute 30 seconds on the hard point, really discouraging to play. And so I just hopped off. And then I hopped back on. And then I finally tried control. And all was right in the world again. The spawns were simple. The maps were, well, at least the maps I played at the time, they flowed well. They made sense. It was a fair, fun, it was a relaxed game. And that was fun. Um, in fact, it's playing in the background right now. Um, but that didn't last long either. Literally just 3 games. Like 3 games. I looked at my stats, 3 games went by. And I just can't keep up already. People are just sitting on Favela Rooftop, pre-aiming corners. I can't keep up because I just, gone other days of just like running around the map and then shooting somebody after you see them and not before. But yeah, like every game I've played in the past few days, I just feel out of place. Either I'm well below the required skill of the lobby or well above it. And so I just stopped. I don't feel myself improving at any of the maps, any of the modes. And it, It's nothing like the other games. You know, the other games you'd maybe plateau towards the end just because everybody's sweaty and everybody's quit. But God, I just feel like I've hit a brick fucking wall. But yeah, um, long story short, you're gonna either need to be so insanely good at the game where like you're just above the matchmaking and you're just better than everybody, or you're gonna have to be truly casual enough where you just don't check the scoreboard and you don't like care about unlocking half of the guns that aren't through the leveled unlocks. Um, but yeah, just one final thing. Like, I've never considered myself a super good Call of Duty player. I've never considered myself a super bad Call of Duty player. But this year, I truly don't know where I sit. And like, let's take Halo for example. I know I'm bad at Halo, but I have never once felt as stomped in a game, in a public game, than I do on this game.
Yeah, so just wrapping up here, 11 out of 10, great game. I would not recommend playing it. Go spend your money elsewhere.